Okay, so today I will be doing a mukbang. Okay, so I will be eating some Subway. Okay. Okay, so let's see. There's some black olives, some lettuce, some tomatoes, some banana peppers. There's mayo on here, and there's cucumbers, and there's American cheese, and this is a ham. Ham sandwich, ham sub. Yeah. And as I said, some baked Lay's original, and some orange juice. Okay, so my dog might start barking because that's what she does. She barks at everybody and her thirsty self. China. Okay. So, I don't know what to really talk about besides all this nonsense going on in the world. It's very crazy. Very crazy. I would have got onions on here, but I don't really like onions on subs or whatever. But I do like them on burgers, which is crazy. And I am sitting in a, one of those chairs that you take to games or whatever. You take to the ones that you take when you go to like an event or something. That's what chair I'm sitting on, because the other chair is too high and you can't really see me. Because I want you to be able to see me. That chair is too high, and the other chair is too low. So this is the next best thing, and I'm sitting on like 2 pillows because, you know, it was a little too low. This chair. But yeah. Woo! Yeah, so anyways, what's going on in this world? It's really something else. Like every day there's just a lot going on. Because most of the time I just wake up and I look at my phone, and then like, because usually when I like turn my phone on, it usually like says something like what's happening on the news or whatever. And just this world that we live in, it's just a mess. One thing I just can't understand is why people are just doing too much. Like, just because you don't like nobody, you don't like that person, or you don't like this race, or you don't like that race, doesn't mean, you know, you should just, you know, do something crazy. Because even in, you know, my years, you know, like somebody that I didn't like, they would just walk by and I would just look the other way because, whew, you know, because, you know, if they're not bothering me and I'm not bothering them, then leave them alone. Don't talk to them or whatever, because that's the best thing to do. Just don't. Just leave them alone, because they're not really doing anything bad, and you're doing too much. Like, they're not doing anything to you, and you just decide, oh, let me do this, let me do that. And it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I understand when people get mad, you know, or when most people get mad, you know, they do really crazy things. But it just doesn't make any sense, like, why all this stuff is happening. Like most of the time on the news, they're like, oh, this person shot this person, and they accidentally thought it was this person. I mean, I understand accidents do happen, but like at some point you should know what you're doing. Like, you need proof to show that, oh, this is why, this is this person because it, they have red hair, they got this, they got that. So of course this is the correct person. But if you're just going up to somebody that just has red hair and you just shoot them, then that just doesn't make any sense. Or if you're doing something and you're not really paying attention, then what in the world? Because that's like you're in school and there's like a bully in school, and the bully goes up to maybe a kid with, I don't know, blue hair, whatever, always gets bullied like every day. And then next you know, the bully went up to the kid with a kid with blue hair. Even though the bully already knew that wasn't, the person that they usually bully, they still decided to beat up that kid. And it just doesn't make any sense, because if you don't know what you're doing and you shouldn't be doing it, then don't do it. I don't know what I'm doing to the sandwich. Because most of the people in this world, like, they're doing something crazy so they can feel better. But they should be just, leaving people alone, because they're not doing anything. But you want to bother them. They're just having, a normal day. Like you're having a normal day, and then out of nowhere, somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, you can't walk down the street or whatever. Like, doesn't make any sense. Or they're like, oh, you can't walk down the street because, oh, you look like this, or oh, you look like that. Like, it's just so crazy. Like, why can't everybody just, like, why can't everybody just be, like, just walk past their problems? And other people need to have some common sense. Like, it's just so crazy. Or another example could be like, okay, let's say like two guys, you know, guy lives over there, guy lives over there. You know, they both pretty much have the same exact day. You know, they both wake up, blah, 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 blah. They both work at the same type of job. And, you know, and then they just like, when they go to work, they cross past each other. Like, they work at, let's say they work at McDonald's. Maybe the guy that lives over here, he works at the McDonald's that's over there. And the guy that's over here, he works at the McDonald's over there. And then one day, you know, they go past each other one day. Maybe one person wanted to be a little early. Instead of leaving at like 8:30, this guy that lives over here, instead of him leaving at 8:30, he leaves at maybe like 8 o'clock. So, you know, and then this dude, you know, he still leaves at the same time. Maybe he leaves at 8 o'clock. And they both pass each other. And then the guy that lives over here, you know, he's all mad and stuff because he doesn't like the person that lives, you know, he doesn't like the person that lives over here. When they cross each other or whatever. I don't know what I'm saying, but I kind of do know what I'm saying. So yeah, they pass each other. And then the guy, it's like, oh, you think you're better than me? Blah, 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 you know. And they just start arguing. And then that one guy gets mad and just does something crazy. Like, people out here having a normal day, they could be having the same type of day you're having, and then you decide to do something crazy. Because when you're in you know, just like being around the police, when you call the police, that means you need help, okay? You need help. It's an emergency, okay? It's an emergency. There's something going on. And, you know, yeah. But some people calling the police, but like, oh, this person's doing this person's doing that. But they're not doing that. So the point is when you call the police, you know, you're supposed to precisely say what's going on. Like how I watched this one thing, or somebody told me about it, because this lady went past this, you know, black person, and the lady was like, oh, I was feeling threatened or whatever, blah, 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 blah. She said this, she said that, he said this, he said that. When really you should be on the phone and be like, oh, I am this, and I just made up a thing. I'm blind right now and saying that I'm being threatened, and this person said this and this person said that. In real life, I said it because I don't like this person's skin color. Or another thing going on, you know, you just casually walking or jogging around your neighborhood, or maybe you're over your family's house, and every morning you exercise, or you walk, or you jog, or you run, or whatever, and then somebody doesn't like what you're doing, so they decide to do something crazy, like, because it's kind of crazy to do what you love to do when you can't even really do it. Because there's people out here that say, oh yeah, this person, I felt really threatened by this person because they're running, they're jogging. I don't know how you feel threatened by this person if they're just exercising, doing something that they want to do. just doesn't make any sense. Because this is reality. Before I was like, okay, you know, don't do this, don't do that, you know. Only certain people that, you know, really doesn't listen, they get taken or whatever. Or if you do this, this happens. Or don't do this. But now it's the point where you could just do one thing. You do anything. You just sit down in your chair, just, you know, I could be doing this right now, and then it just doesn't make any sense. Or like you just be walking out of your house and just it just doesn't make any sense. Because for me, I was like, okay, you know, it only happens to the people that, you know, don't listen, do the wrong thing, you know, got accused of doing something. But now it's like, oh yeah, you could be doing this. You could be walking off your porch. You could be walking your dog. You could be cutting the grass. You could be, you know, outside eating a sandwich. You could be inside eating a sandwich. You could be inside eating anything. You could be asleep. You could be looking out the window. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like you could be doing anything, and then somebody think it's a great idea to do something stupid. Like it just doesn't make any sense. And I think it was yesterday, or that was the day before that. And, you know, I was just so surprised about what's going on in the world that I couldn't go to sleep. I could not go to sleep. Because what's going on in the world, it's crazy. Like even I even tell some people, I'm like, not some people, some of my family members or my cousin or whatever, I'll be like, you can't really do this, you can't really do that, because if you do this, and that's gonna happen. You know, if you just decide to just, you know, when somebody parks the car and you just decide to just run out of it, you can't really do that, because you might get hit by a car. Because of course, you know, they can't see you because, you know, you're on the other side, or they didn't know you were running or whatever, something like that. Wow. But yeah. But other people, they could clearly see that you're like about to run across the street, about to walk across the street, and they don't even care. They can clearly see what you're doing, but they don't care because they're like, oh, I don't like this person. If you don't like them, look the other way, okay? Look the other way. I do not care. You look the other way. Because people are trying to have a normal day. People are trying to, you know, live their life. Live their life. And it's hard to live your life, do this and do that, when you got all this nonsense happening. Like, you can't really accuse somebody of being this person when you don't have the proof. Like, let's say, somebody robbed your house or something, I don't know. And then you have cameras, and the cameras tell you that, you know, maybe the dude has a giant tattoo on his left arm, and when it's time to tell the police, oh, who was it, you're like, oh yeah, you know, he looks like this, he looks like that, he has a giant tattoo on his arm, and the tattoo is this or whatever. And next thing you know, the person that's thrown in jail is somebody that doesn't even have a tattoo on their arm. And you clearly gave them you know, what you know, saw in the house camera. then it really doesn't make any sense, because clearly you said that person had a tattoo on their arm. You decided to arrest this person. Or you could be doing, you could be doing just something basic. Something basic. And there's just that one person or people that's just like, oh, I don't like what they're doing. I don't like their skin color. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call the cops. Like, it really doesn't make any sense. Like, people are out here just trying to, live. Then we got this mess going on, all this stuff. Because at this point, because I used to be like, okay, making friends, I'm like, okay, I can make some friends. But now I'm just unsure right now. I'm unsure. Like, if you're gonna be my friend, you're gonna have a bunch of requirements, because I'm gonna have to see a lot of proof, a lot of proof of things. Because what's going on in this world, I don't trust not a lot of people. I don't trust really anybody. Only people that I pretty much trust is my friends that I have now. Because I've known them long enough, or my best friends. I've known them long enough to know, oh yes, they are, they're very nice, this and that. Known them for a long time, so I know exactly what's going on. I see them pretty much every day. I've spent pretty much every weekend with them. I've been to their house. They've been to my house. I have their social media, information or whatever. We randomly ran into each other in a store, or anywhere, at any place, I don't know. Because, some people, you might think they're your friends, and maybe it's like, when they're around you, oh yeah, they're nice to you. But when they're somewhere else, maybe they talk about you. So when you're like, maybe if you and your friend, y'all didn't know y'all were at the same store, y'all didn't know y'all were at Walmart or whatever, and then you go by them, randomly past them, and you just like slowly walk past them and make sure they don't see you. Cause if you just see them talking, or if they're like, oh, I don't like this person, I don't like that person, oh, this girl's always doing this, then you're gonna be like, oh, I guess they're not my friend. But if you hear them, you'll be like, oh, I would love to buy this shirt for her, because she is so nice, and her birthday's coming up. My gosh, this would be so nice on her. Whatever. Why am I talking like that? But yeah. Because there are some people, when you're around them, they're nice. But when you're not around them, they might be a whole nother person. Because I've had plenty of friends. When they're around their other friends, they're a whole nother person. But, and I also had other friends that are, when they're around me, they act the same way they act around me, just like the way they act when they're around their family. Which is a good thing, because I don't want you out here acting different just because you're around me. Like, you don't have to be nice 24/7 when you're around me. You can be, somewhat rude, well, not rude, but, normal, the way you act pretty much. But just don't do anything stupid. Unless it's funny to me. Yeah. So, one thing that my grandmother says, because she's like, oh, this is what she tells me, because, you know, describes me as, she's like, oh, you're so, you know, me, you're so nice, you know, you're so quiet, and all this other stuff, and it's like, yeah, I am, but, you know, if I was in a situation where, like, if somebody stole, I don't know, my pocketbook, they're running with my pocketbook in their hand, I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, I guess he can have my pocketbook. No, I'm not like that. You take my stuff, I don't care who you are, I'm gonna get it back. I'm going to get my bag back. I'm going to chase after that person to get my bag back. Because it does not make any sense of why I would let somebody take my pocketbook. Like, if somebody stole my food, like, I'm walking down the street with my food in my hand, and then out of nowhere, somebody just snatched it out of my hand and just ran. I'm not gonna, you know, let that person keep my food, because if I spent like, you know, maybe like $5 on that food, I'm just gonna go back and get some more. But if I spent like, I don't know, like $40, $50, $30, and it's my favorite food, I'm getting my food back. Because that costs a lot of money and it's my favorite food and you're not keeping it. I didn't go in there and get my food just so you could take it from me. So, because if it's just $1 or $5 for that food, I can just go back and get some more. Or if it's my favorite food and maybe at that place they decided to have a discount for whoever gets, you know, the first 10 people to get there, gets the food, then of course I'm gonna go after that food. Because, yeah. Or if it's